toys and TV shows, comics and collecting and superheroes. There's no end to the useless stuff they know. But don't call them geeks, they're just regular Joes.
Welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. Oh, you're a scumbag.
What?
Look what he's got on his shirt.
Who, me? Oh,
No.
him? Oh, wait.
Todd.
Where'd that come from?
I bought it during the show last week.
Did you pay like $35 for it?
$19.95 delivered.
Oh, that's good.
Really?
Did you get 3?
I did not. I could not find 3 for $19.95 delivered. I found 1. So
That's like the rule of 3. You're supposed to buy those things in 3s.
yep. Yeah, the guy had $35 make an offer on it. And I sent him $19.95, and because I think I miscalculated the shipping because he had the shipping in there. I thought I was offering him $20, and he took it. So,
All right.
Well, anyway, I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
and I'm Todd Pleasant, wearing a visitor badge from my recent trip to Starfleet headquarters.
Is it metal?
It's metal. That's why my shirt is sagging so much. It's actually pretty heavy. So
I saw a guy when we were near Comic Con wearing that. That's obviously what they were giving away
Yes.
at the
Cool.
at the booth. Anyway, today we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to talk about some of the new shows that are out on for the season here. We're going to save you $6.99 by talking about this documentary and some other stuff, at least in my opinion.
Don't bury the lead, Dave. Go right for it.
We're gonna go random in a second, but hey, Facebook, Instagram, those are the two. That's really the ones you need to concern yourselves. I don't know if anyone's left us a review. I haven't checked the reviews, but
You know what? I haven't either, and we said if somebody did, we'd read them. So while you start the show, I'm going to take a look.
Good. And as we sit here, it's, I don't know, the middle of October.
it is exactly the middle of October.
It's yes, it is exactly the middle of October. We'll be at not New York Comic Con. We'll be at Rhode Island Comic Con the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of November. So let us know if you're going. Always a good time. Yeah, so let's go random. I always go last, and I always know what everyone else is going to do. But Barry, why don't you go first?
Okay, let me just close this where I was reading.
Oh, Todd, do you want me?
I'll go first.
Are you
That's
ready
fine.
to go?
I'm prepared.
Todd will go do 6 of them, and then no one else will have anything to do. But go ahead.
I'll go 1. How about we take turns? Okay.
We used to do that, but you decided to do all of
Yeah,
yours.
you've been doing yours all in a row lately, so.
Because when I do 1, Dave never comes back to me, or never comes back to anyone.
That's
he just
not
moves
true.
on. Okay.
That's not true. I am always worried about time. All right, so go ahead. Tell us about the one about a comic that you love. Let's hear it. Go ahead.
Kevin Feige has been named Chief Creative Officer over all of Marvel, which means basically he's not going to have any time to waste on the failing property that is Star Wars, including comic books. And I love comics, so I'm excited about this.
I know you do. When I read this, I thought
You
Todd
love
was going to say,
all
I love
comics.
comics.
Yes, but that's exciting. He's had, he's been shepherding the Marvel Universe and been doing, in my opinion, a great job. And
Yep.
I think they need kind of cohesion all the way around. I've been very critical of some of the shit they've been doing on the comic book side for a few years now. It'd be really great to see that unifying vision. Yeah, I'm excited about this, and I hope he doesn't waste any time dealing with crap with stuff over on the other side of the lot at Disney. So, Barry, what do you got?
He's got time. They're going to clone him. And he'll
Okay.
have plenty to...
Well, it's okay if he doesn't, because the Star Wars universe is in good hands with our good friend Ryan Johnson. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's not. So, Ryan's been talking about his trilogy in the press, and then now recently he was asked about what's going on with it, and his response was somewhat more vague than it's been.
So now he's saying that Disney is figuring out what they're doing. And in regards to his project, he said he would be thrilled if it happens.
Yes.
Oof.
Yeah.
You'll be the only one, you piece of shit.
The first of his trilogy will be the Lego Star Wars movie.
So we've been
It's an insult to Star
predicting
Wars
for a
and
while,
Legos.
not just us, the entire universe has been predicting for a while that we'll never see these movies, and it's starting to sound like he's finally caught on.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. No. Sorry, buddy. Go. There's plenty of...
There's other opportunities for you.
menial labor jobs out there for you.
He's making movies. I mean, did his Running with Scissors or Running with Knives or whatever that movie
Knives
was?
Out.
Knives Out. There you go. Did that
It's
do
bad
anything?
ideas all the way around.
Did it come out? I don't even know if it
I
came
think
out.
it came out. Yeah, I think it came and went.
I don't know about that, but
I'll look that up while you give us a random, Dave.
yeah. So okay, a two-part random Disney Plus. It's you're gonna be sick of us talking about Disney Plus. I'm sure someone like Mamanuster or whoever bitches about all our... Is that the dude who bitches about everything we say? Is going to be
Just
sick
don't
of it.
say you
But
like
wanna know
Discovery.
something? Huh? Yeah, he
Don't
hates
say you like Discovery.
but we still love you, buddy. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
But Disney Plus, we all signed up this weekend,
We did.
right? I believe we all did.
We did because
there
they
was
ran a sale.
We
a sale that
we all drank the Kool-Aid, as it were.
3 years for like under $5 a month.
Yeah, it was like $4 and change a month if you sign up for 3 years in a clip. So remember how we were arguing at the end of last week's show about how nobody was gonna, that it was only, anyway.
I never thought for a second we wouldn't.
No, I
That's
know.
what I was arguing against
But-
was the greater public.
Yeah.
But
Well,
I had no question they had 3 of us on the hook.
Yeah, they announced today like everything that will be there on day one, and I was reading it on a 19-inch monitor and literally scrolling for multiple pages, like almost every kids Disney movie, all of Star Wars, I think up until something, all the Marvel movies up to Captain Marvel, like all the old school Disney live action movies. There is a ton of stuff. Like you're literally going to be like, you look at Netflix, you're like, I can't find anything to watch. You're going to go to Disney Plus and be like, oh, I want to see that. I haven't seen that. I want to see this.
And it's all going to be there. It's not going to be like Netflix where you say, oh, this is cool. I'll check this out later. And then it's gone if it's not a Netflix original. And this is one of the things that sold me on it, is this is going to be the repository of Disney shit. It's just
and
all
while
there.
it's a really good deal at $7 a month, it was impossible to pass up at under $5 a month.
Yeah. Which is honestly like one of the reasons I don't mind paying for the CBS one is because I just like having all the Trek there on tap. I like there's other things that, other shows that I've watched that it's eventually I'll let it go and then pick it up again. But Disney's version of that with everything there accessible is going to be pretty cool.
We've mentioned, there's stuff that's sort of, Disney puts stuff in the vault. There are stuff that hasn't been out since it was on VHS.
Yeah.
Or it certainly isn't even on any streaming service. There's a bunch of movies. I mean, like, I don't have a copy of Mary Poppins. I was watching that Tom Hanks Mary Poppins making of movie. I'm like, I haven't seen that since I was like 5. I'd like to check that out again. Pinocchio, all these classic Disney movies that I don't have copies of.
Peter wore tennis shoes, all the Herbies.
That darn cat, all 6
darn
versions
cat.
of
Yeah,
it.
exactly. All that stuff is waiting for you. So
All the Kurt Russell movies.
that's
Yeah,
there's
that
a
was
lot
one
of
of them.
There is
Computer
a
wore
lot of
tennis
them.
shoes.
I think it's
But-
that's a great deal, and it's going to be a great deal. And we're not getting paid to say this. In fact, we paid money to say this. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if Disney Plus wants to have us be their sponsor, be a sponsor, we'd be happy.
What I find ironic, though, is that, and I'm with you on this. I know, Dave, you said last week, like, why am I paying for CBS right now? I'm not using it. And here we've signed up for 3 years of Disney Plus before it's ever even, even available. So,
Well, my hope for that is, 10 episodes of The Mandalorian. Hopefully something will be coming after that. Just the announced stuff alone is got more than... and they're all not coming
Yes.
at the same time.
Yep.
Is got more than, enough to probably have something to watch almost all the time.
The announced Marvel stuff is just.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, it's going to be amazing. So, I'm extremely excited for it. Barry and I have been going back and forth about this. I don't know what the normals are going to do, and I think Netflix, for however much they might lose one month to the next, I think they're in a really tough position to unseat, and I don't think a lot of people are doing multiples. I really don't. Anecdotally, I don't find that anybody I talk to has multiple streaming services.
Because you live where you live. If you talk to people where I live, most people have 2 or 3 already.
Yeah, here too. It's funny, when this deal came out, I sort of was telling people at work, and one guy who likes the same stuff we did ordered it. Another woman who she doesn't like it but thought her husband did, she ordered it. And then there's another one who's like, I've never seen the Marvel movies, I don't care. But I'm having a kid in 2 months. I need to have all the Disney stuff. That makes perfect sense. So the normals...
yes, because... okay.
Well, not now, but in a year or whatever, a year and a half.
You still shouldn't be putting a 1-year-old in front of a screen. But that's fine. That's neither here nor there. But
that's what keeps this country great. That's what makes America great again.
That's right. Children raised by television.
Making America great again.
Isn't all that other stuff.
I'm sure Disney would love to know that tagline was just associated with their service.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to pay us to come up with a better tagline? I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
Yep. So
at least send us a T-shirt and we'll.
Okay.
Anyway, so if you got a problem with Disney, too bad. We don't.
Okay. So
Todd, do you have anything else so I didn't miss you?
Rogue One screenwriter Tony Gilroy is going to write and direct the Cassian Andor series.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Barry, you missed that.
Yeah. I did totally miss that. I had not heard that.
It came out an hour ago.
Okay, so, that's why. He's the perfect guy to do it.
That is exciting. And he's hired. It's locked up. So is the article in Variety. He will write the pilot episode, also direct multiple episodes of the series. He will work closely along the showrunner, Stephen Schiff, who I was trying to think of what he did. He did The Americans.
Yes.
So the showrunner from The Americans is the showrunner for the Cassian Andor series.
That says a lot.
It does. And it's described as a spy thriller during the early days of the rebellion against the Empire. So,
in that opening scene of one of the opening scenes in Rogue One, where Cassian kills that other guy, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about his past, and I'm really excited for that.
Alan Tudyk will be doing K2SO. I think this could be awesome. So,
he's like Carrie Russell. She just would kill people if she had to.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah,
nothing's wrong with that. I mean, if you're a spy anyway. So that's interesting. That's a good, nice mix of people who will bring something to the table for sure.
Yep.
More on Disney Plus. See,
sign up.
We didn't get it.
Anyone got anything that's not Disney or that's not under the Disney umbrella for today?
I guess we don't.
Okay. No, because I've got another one. Because I've got another one too. So this, while not officially announced by Disney, sounds announced because it was announced by representatives for Dennis Lawson. But apparently, Dennis Lawson is going to reprise his role as Wedge in The Rise of Skywalker. So he was originally, from what I've read, he was offered a role in Force Awakens and turned it down because he said it was too much of a cameo and didn't want to do it. That was before he'd ever been to a Star Wars convention. He came to Celebration and 2 years ago, I think it was 2017 Celebration, and saw that people were waiting online hours just to meet him and stuff, and I think he came around. So that'll be cool. I mean, look, I don't expect him to be a major player in it, but just to know that he's another original trilogy actor who sort of made it through the trilogy alive, and we never heard from him again. He was one of Luke's friends. Makes sense that they would try to bring him back. So.
Hope he's General Wedge at least.
Yeah, right.
Not just still flying red 2 or whatever.
Yeah. Seriously, if they made Lando Calrissian a general, and Wedge is still like Lieutenant Wedge or something, that just blows. So,
well, it'll be good to have him back. And I believe isn't he Ewan McGregor's uncle or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, they are related.
Yeah, they're related. So.
So cool. Anything else? Any other random?
We could talk about the fact that Martin Scorsese doubled down on his comments on
Oh
Marvel.
my
but
God!
Does anybody really want to talk about that?
Just stop, Martin. Stop, please.
Yeah, you're not helping yourself. No one cares about you, dopey Irishman. What's it on, Netflix? Everyone's dropping Netflix. So, screw you. You know who's not a jerk? Fanboy Collectibles. Plenty of stuff. They're not. They're
Sorry,
awesome.
Troy.
It's not like... These are the transitions. I can't come from that
Stream of
downbeat
consciousness. He comes
commentary
comes
to a sponsorship message. But a lot of the stuff we talked about from New York Comic Con, Mandalorian and IG-11, up for pre-order. Hot Toys and Kotobukiya.
Yes.
Both of those you could for either price level. Both of those looked great. We saw them at New York Comic Con. Check them out. They are all up for pre-order. The Anovos Mandalorian helmet up for pre-order. There's a Hasbro Stan Lee figure that's coming out, like sort of a commemorative figure. There's a million things. An Emma Frost premium format. Can't go wrong with Emma Frost is all I have to say.
Totally not.
Jim Lee Nightwing. Nightwing's been, we've been watching Titans, so for your Nightwing fans,
good
plus
Nightwing figure.
all the other sideshow pops and all that good stuff. Check them out online, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out in person at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them that Regular Joe sent you. So we're going to talk about, and I will take the praise or the blame, the memory, the Origins of Alien documentary. I had heard about it. We saw about it from the company who's, I guess, financing it at New York Comic Con, and we all watched it. It's available on... I watched it on Amazon. Yep. I know it's available on streaming services.
Yeah, it's available on demand through cable companies, too. It's kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
I wrote down 3 notes about this thing.
What?
I wrote down 3 notes to myself about it. Shall I read them?
I have quite a few notes written down. Do you want to hear what I think?
No, of course. I was just going to read mine first and then lead into your
Let Barry read his first.
Go ahead.
Slow.
Yep.
Nothing new. Not very inspired. Those were the 3 notes I wrote down about this documentary.
Okay. Dave?
But I watched the whole thing.
You can go.
Okay. I think there was potential here. I think they really missed the mark. I think there's 3 people responsible for this movie largely. Okay, it's Dan O'Bannon, it's Giger, and it's Ridley Scott. And to do this with nothing but archival interviews from Ridley Scott from another documentary that is out there is just, I know. I think if
I don't think any of that Giger stuff was new either. It's all.
Oh, I know.
No,
he's dead though.
Well, Giger's dead.
Hard to interview
Dan O'Bannon's dead.
But
and Ridley Scott's like, leave me alone.
Yeah, but if they just stayed focused on Dan O'Bannon, it could have been something else. It could have been, but they. I don't know. I mean, they pretty much
that whole opening
established
sequence with the 3 women. I don't remember what they called them. The
Furies from the
Furies.
Yeah.
But
that was just someone wanted to do something artsy in this thing.
And this is the thing. It's like any other thing where they had somebody who's in any way involved in this, I found reasonably interesting, but the pretentious, overanalyzed shit was just insufferable, and it was just. I mean, I think I wrote his name down, but guy with a beard. Every time he opened his mouth, he was like a parody of a film studies professor.
No, but that's what some of those guys are, and I went into it thinking it was more of a making of, and then the title is Origins of, but it is all the parts of film school that I hated. There was this whole cinema studies department, and you had to take either a class or that could have been your major, and that's 99% of what that was, is pretentious nonsense of trying to make meaning and
Okay.
all kinds of stuff out of movies that did or didn't exist.
The woman with the feminist perspective
nonsense.
that was trying to make something out of the fact that Ash tried to force the thing down Ripley's throat, the rolled up thing down Ripley's throat, and was making that a phallic thing. It's like he's trying to simulate an attack from a creature that goes down people's throats. Okay? No, you don't strangle them. No, you don't bludgeon them. Okay? That's what he was trying to do, was kill her in a way that looked like the alien did it. Okay?
But didn't you know that the alien was raping?
Yeah. And again, but
raping
but
Kane. I mean, like,
that's always
why do we
been
have to
there,
make
but
more out of this?
That was there from, and I'll say that was there from the beginning. That was this. I mean, that's always been part of the analysis of this. The pregnancy, the male pregnancy thing, the thing gestating inside the guy. That's always been there, but they just hammered us over the head with it. And
the only interesting part of the whole thing for me was the sequence towards the end where they talked about filming the chestburster scene, but I feel like most of that was probably in the Alien behind the scenes, footage on the.
That was only the sort of the making of that was interesting,
right? Exactly.
And the rest was just it was insufferable. It was just
and this is where this is like we've now hit the point we're far enough removed from this that we're going to spend an hour listening to people who had nothing to do with it, analyzing the people that did.
Yeah.
Now, if you go back and you watch if you commit the time to watch the legit documentary, which was, what was
on the box
Beast
set?
Within, Alien: The Beast Within. Okay, you get better interviews. You get a lot of time with Ridley Scott. You get a ton of special effects stuff, and you get the actual. I mean, this is like, I always think of when I see people doing like this deep film analysis or something like this. I think of the interview with William Faulkner, where they were saying, "Well, what is the significance of of this and this and this in the bear?" And he said, "Yeah, it was just a guy in a bear," and people write papers and theses and all this kind of stuff trying to deconstruct what the add meaning to all these things. When really
this was Dan O'Bannon, from 6 different people,
Ridley Scott, and Giger trying to scare the bejesus out of people in a way that had not been done before, and it was executed brilliantly. Okay, and I think they
were getting into Ridley Scott, and he's facing his own mortality, so that's why this means. Like, come on,
it's ridiculous. It's if I will say, like I said, I got a totally different thing from watching the original documentary. I thought this was going to add to it in some way.
I did too. I liked the idea how they were going back to, and I don't remember if the other one did, talking about some of those movies, like you mentioned, like movies that this was inspired by. That was sort of interesting. If it was more that,
if they had stayed with, I would watch a documentary on Dan O'Bannon and talk about what his inspirations were and go into this stuff. I would watch a documentary about Giger and talk about what his things were. It would be even interesting profiling these 3 men and talking about the different things they contributed and where it came from. But some of the things contradicted themselves. And it's like, they told how Dan O'Bannon was inspired by this EC comic that they showed panels from with this thing bursting out of the guy's chest.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Okay, yeah, that's great. But Dan O'Bannon didn't come up with the chest buster thing. The guy, the co-screenwriter did. Dan O'Bannon was stuck at page 29, couldn't get past it. The other guy, who was not the guy that read the comic, came up with the idea. So
that's true.
It conflicted itself. I will say the dude there, what is his name? Ron Shusett. I mean, that is like that will be on his tombstone. I came up with the chestbuster idea because, or chestburster. No one contradicts that it was his idea, but it's like every interview I've ever seen about Alien is like he somehow shows up and manages to tell that same story over and over again. And yeah, again, it's one of these movies that was an incredible, like Star Wars, was an incredible coming together of disparate people with skills. I mean, you get a Jerry Goldsmith score. You got people who changed, who made decisions on the score that were better than what Jerry Goldsmith wanted to do. Ridley Scott brought this intensity to this. I would watch an hour of panning over his hand drawn.
Yeah, I totally
me too.
The way the intricacy to the way he broke it down frame by frame and had everything for you. I mean, this is, his vision was phenomenal in this. Okay, if you were going to say one person is responsible for this film, it is him. But like I said, acknowledging the other people was good. I don't think they did this in a good way, and I was
took itself too seriously.
Sick of those other people.
The documentary took itself too seriously. It didn't need to be.
It's all this cinema studies
cerebral.
people that need a punch in the face. I mean, that guy was a douchebag. I wrote down one of I stopped, I rewound, and wrote down one of this guy's comments that I just had to. Cinema is a window on our collective unconsciousness.
Yeah, that
is just pure nonsense.
Well,
that is something you say.
That's a good opening line from your cinema studies book.
Exactly.
But again, we go back to the word cinema from last week, and that's the same thing with
There was one guy, the guy with glasses.
It's a movie.
Okay, the taller guy with glasses who was closer, who knew actually some of the people involved. Who he was good. The stuff he added was interesting.
Well, isn't that the guy who was the production designer?
Right. Yeah. He was the one that early on said that Dan O'Bannon had said, I didn't steal from anyone. I stole from everyone. Which is the reality of something like this. Again, I really liked that they acknowledged Lovecraft's The Mountains of Madness, the Terror
They
Beyond
got way
Space,
too
The Thing.
deep into it, though.
You can't talk about this with acknowledging The Thing, the influence of The Thing. Queen of Blood and Planet of the Vampires, both of which I watched this week. And also, this movie probably wouldn't have happened if Dark Star, which was horrible, had not happened. The other thing that I found really, really interesting, and part of this is now, again, like I said, it's somewhere between the two documentaries, but this could have been a Roger Corman film. This could have been utterly forgettable.
Oh, yeah.
And instead, this thing was made, it was filmed in a set unlike anything that had ever been built before as a movie set. It was filmed in a way that, they didn't make movies at that time. I mean, this was a set that didn't have, that they didn't have the pull-away walls that they normally have. They built, essentially the interior of a spaceship and then shot from in there for a lot
It's amazing what they're able to build for even on that $10 million budget. I know it's a long time ago, but still.
It's amazing what they did. And all the way around. And the film...
Yeah, but that's true about Star Wars too, Dave. You think about it. This was made a year or two after Star Wars, and think about all the sets they built on that.
And here's the other thing: they would not have gotten the $10 million if it wasn't for Star Wars.
Yeah, I think the effects, the space effects, are way better in this than they were in Star Wars because they had a couple of years of
because
working through this.
And that's where, if you really want to get into the effects, you got to find the beast within and track that down.
But the ships aren't moving nearly as fast either. When you think about it, most of the ship shots in this are slow pans of the Nostromo and the Narcissus. So,
but I will say, You go back and you watch this Alien now, and it's a slow moving movie in a lot of ways by today's standards, but I think that's one of the things that's brilliant about it. I love the abandoned ship opening scene thing. I'm just nobody would let somebody do that now. It's or they're doing it and they're aping this. I think in some ways this is a little out there. I think this is almost like the Citizen Kane of space movies. I think every movie. Every movie set in space since then has taken something from this, and it's like I said, it's brilliant. It probably, if they're going to go back to the well and revisit this, it deserved a better documentary than this. I think. Really
for
did.
Sure. So this is a hard pass. Don't go see it, but if you haven't seen The Beast Within, check it out, and you'll probably get that for free somewhere.
Yeah,
or just rewatch Alien and enjoy the movie again if you haven't seen it in a while.
Beast Within is a longer, like the doc. I think the same people made the Blade Runner one. It is a longer commitment than watching the movie, but with good reason. You get a strong sense of how everything was put together. You get great, much more contemporaneous cast interviews, and you get Ridley Scott talking about this and the significance.
I don't it's surprising that even like the Amazons of the world pick this up. I mean, it's pretty bad. And they're charging, I paid $6.99 for it. I mean, that was
it's
just
a $7 rental everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, and
This feels like something that you would have seen on Netflix for free.
Yeah, it just wasn't that good at all. I mean,
Yeah.
So are we
it's
done
funny,
on
it
this? 'Cause
reminds
if
me-
we are, I have something tangential to it that I'd like to talk
Yeah.
about. But
So we talked a little. We talked about the DS9 documentary a few weeks ago. You guys were talking
I thought
about
that was
the
bad.
opening, which I got to say was a misfire. It was a bizarre thing, but that whole documentary was bizarre. It was not pointless. Okay, there was value to that in some way, because if you, like I said, I think for people that love the series, it was a tribute to it. Okay, it wasn't a documentary.
Yeah.
It was a tribute to it. I don't know who the market for this is, other than someone that's, as you said, Dave, sitting in film school and thinking they're going to understand this thing that was lightning in a bottle.
well, they're marketing it to us, but we're not the right audience.
they're marketing it to people, I think, that making of documentary. It's not a making of documentary. It's what do we think it was all really about? And who cares?
And the whole thing, again, going to the Furies and starting at the Temple of Delphi, which I've been there. It's an amazing place. I would recommend going there to anyone.
I had no idea. Barry had said the beginning of this movie was rough, and I was like,
Just
well, I
meaning
didn't know
that it
what
didn't
was
have
going on.
anything to do with the friggin' movie. Like, I was saying it was similar to the DS9, and only in that you had to get through this painful intro just to
And
get...
what, Tom, what do I always say?
Who made
Start in the
decision
middle.
Again, someone shot that scene. It's like...
That's exact. Some frustrated filmmaker, like cinema studies people are, wanted to shoot something with the cool light and
The
the
one
whatever.
thing-
And if we're being
That's
really
awesome.
honest, part of the problem why you're getting documentaries like these two that we've talked about recently is the cost of making these types of movies has gone so way down that almost anybody can get a documentary made.
I wouldn't in any way put this in the category of the DS9 thing. I think, again, like I said, that was everyone involved, but one person was there. It was much more of a tribute. This was a way to someone's attempt to assign meaning to this, and it was random, and it was I think there was probably 25 minutes of useful information in this, and that would be like the interviews with.
I agree with you, Todd. The reason I'm equating those two movies is that both of them could have used somebody overseeing them and editing them
there's no
better and
question.
making them more
There's no
interesting.
question.
And that's what I'm saying, because the cost of entry has gone down so low, people are able to produce and direct these types of things that maybe wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I agree with you. The DS9 was a far superior look at a production than this was.
Yeah,
this was tough. It's fun.
I will. The one thing I got out of this that I didn't get out. I've seen two other alien documentaries, and the thing I got out of this was the Francis Bacon connection, which I found interesting, but that was the only thing with the paintings of the mouths and stuff like that.
Right.
But you could find something.
It was random.
If you
Who
look
cares?
hard
and
enough,
they
you
spent
can
way
find-
too much time on it. But those paintings freak
Yeah.
the shit out of me. Every time I've seen those, it's
Yeah.
like I don't like the little
But
mouths.
if you
and
look hard enough, you can find meaning that's not there.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
This
And that's the thing. And again, sometimes the bear is just the bear.
Exactly.
It just is what it is.
I wrote about Alien in my one cinema studies class in film school that I had to take. And I remember I didn't have a VCR at the time. This is 1984. I don't know if VCR is prevalent. I borrowed a Betamax from the school and I rented it on Beta, and I was watching it, fast forwarding it, and writing on this paper. I wish I had the paper. I'm sure it's as stupid and pretentious as this movie is, but I think that was, I don't remember what, I mean, that was at the time, this, it's only 5 years after the movie was made. That was probably an odd choice for a movie. Maybe it was, I don't know if it was a horror studies class or something.
One of the things that I mean, the interviews, there's a lot of excerpted interviews in this from the other documentary, from The Beast Within. They didn't even use the best parts. So, go back and look at that. This is...
They might have given them limited access to footage from it.
Yeah, it could very well be. But it's, again, like I said, this I think it deserves better. This is, from any angle, this is an amazing film. It was an amazing accomplishment. Early Ridley Scott stuff is just phenomenal. It's the guy is a genius, and this is a manifestation of that, and very much in the same way that Blade Runner is. And I love both films in different ways. This is incredible. But here is the meaning of this. It was designed by people. It was created by people who wanted to get people to go to the movies and pay money to see a film. They wanted large volumes of people to come in and pay money for the film, so it would be a commercial success. And that was the motivation and the reasoning behind this entire thing. And that's it. Almost every decision in this that the studio had input was to make this thing marketable. Ridley Scott wanted to make it what Ridley Scott wanted to make it, but those are the tensions in between there, and that's it. That's the story. It's not some hidden psychological thing. It's how do you make a movie like this and get it by the studio. It's not about it's not about whether you're secretly thinking of penises with teeth.
I love people love of analyzing the crap out of this, and maybe that's why Ridley Scott wasn't in there, because he would have been like, I made a scary movie.
Yeah. Move on.
It is what it is.
So
let's cleanse our...
Hang on. I got...
Go ahead. You had something else to say, Barry,
it's
our
connected,
palate.
but not about the documentary. So there's a convention in New York. I've had it for the last couple of years, always sort of at the end of the year, November, December, called WinterCon. Not the greatest show in the world, but we've had some good success over the years meeting some people there. I just got an email from them tonight, which I thought was interesting because they've got... so this year it's earlier. It's November 22nd to 24th this year. And for the guest list, celebrating the 40th anniversary of Alien, they've got Veronica Cartwright and Tom Skerritt on the guest list.
Ooh, Tom Skerritt.
Yeah.
He did not look good in this documentary.
No, he didn't. But who else is going to be there, which I find really interesting. And the reason now I am going to this, Dirk Benedict, Noah Hathaway, and...
Oh, my God.
Lorette Spang is going to be there.
Ooh.
And for Todd, there's like 7 people from Farscape going to be there.
Those are
what's the
Gigi
date on
Edgley.
November 22nd to 24th. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But
I'll
go.
We should do this just to try to get some people to record tags. I mean, that would be cool.
I would go to get some Alien signatures.
I'll get 2 more signatures on my Battlestar poster. I've already got Dirk Benedict, but I'll get Lorette Spang and Noah Hathaway. So I'm in. But I thought it was interesting.
Noah Hathaway isn't like fat and bald.
There's a picture of him here. He actually looks pretty good. He looks
good.
You can identify him that it's him. Because they've got him and the girl from Neverending Story are both going to be there.
Is it still in that horrible casino
Yeah, it's in that horrible casino. I don't love this show.
Oh, that's right. That's where... Is that the
Blade Runner?
That's where we met the Blade Runner people.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 people
drive.
from
I listened
Farscape.
to 2 audiobooks. Yeah. I'd do that again.
See, if we had gotten Sigourney Weaver on an Alien poster, that would have been good to fill it in with these guys.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that would just be good to mention. I mean, I would have gone to this anyway just because I usually bring my son and we go for... I think last year we were there for an hour or an hour and a half and we left. It wasn't much going on. But the year before, you guys met a bunch of the Blade Runner cast. So
yeah, that was.
I will say we spent as much time at the burger place as we did at that convention. So yeah, still a good time. Always a good time we get together.
Okay, so there you go.
So let's cleanse our palate with a show and tell of Alien stuff. What are we doing? Some of our favorite Alien
memorabilia,
artifacts. I guess.
Right? Yeah. So entire franchise.
Is that the $6 million man's boss?
It's Oscar Goldman.
Why do you have that?
That's worth a lot of money. That's much more valuable than Steve Austin.
Regular Joe's show and tell.
Oh look, he's got 1 billion toys.
So Todd, why don't you go first?
Okay. I'm going to go with my collection of alien dog tags. It took me a long time to acquire these. I have one from each of the poor unfortunate colonial Marines who died. Anyways, Dave made these a couple of years ago, right? It's 2 years ago.
You don't have.
Yep.
I only made 3. Don't you? Isn't that all you have?
No, you made. There's 6 of them.
Oh, there are.
Yeah.
I only have 3.
Oh, you know what? I have 2 of each.
There's doubles. I don't have everybody. I can make the other ones.
I have 2 of each,
Hudson,
but I
Hicks,
wanted
and
it
Ripley
to look
I
like
made.
the whole. I have 2 of each. I want it to look like basically the whole team. So I have them hanging. I keep them hanging from my other favorite thing, which is my pulse rifle. And this, I think Sean told us about that, right? This one.
That's the airsoft one, right?
Yeah, this is the airsoft one. Which I gotta say is.
Did he?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he
But
mentioned.
it came pre-made. I built mine on airsoft.
Yeah, no,
one.
this was pre-made.
And mine was, I think,
This
a lot
thing
more money.
Has been awesome.
Unfortunately.
There's pellets in it right now. I got to be careful. I put a hole in sheetrock with this thing, and I may have done some pest control in the backyard with it. So, yeah, stay away from my bird feeder. But anyways, yeah, this is great. I like it a lot. And like I said, it was something that Sean did point out that was for sale. So
that is one of my definitely top
yep
favorite weapons of science fiction.
I've got
me
it hanging.
too.
I displayed hanging on the wall with the dog tags draped over it. It looks awesome.
As do I.
So similarly, I also grabbed my heavy pulse rifle off the wall. This is the Hollywood Collector Group one that came out a few years back. It's not airsoft. It's all metal and it's heavy as hell. And this is by far my favorite Aliens collectible. But like you guys, I've also got the dog tags hanging, but not off the rifle. I've got them hanging off of my Aliens poster that's signed by 4 or 5 cast members, including Sigourney Weaver. So
it's cool.
And then my other one, which Dave saw earlier, I moved it in here. It's usually out in the other room, is my face hugger, which I have right now draped over my guitar amp, which I kind of like. I might leave it there for a little while.
I love the face. I got to say, that's a NECA thing, right?
Yeah, it's the same one you have.
Yeah, and that's just great. I hang that off one of my display cases. It fell and pretty much landed on one of our cats, I think like 6 months ago. The cat has never been back in my office. So,
I keep mine usually in my TV room. There's it's in the basement, and there's a high window, and there's a small curtain rod, and I usually have the tail hooked around that curtain rod. It hangs down towards the couch. And people that have never been in my basement before that see it get freaked out by it every time.
I will say the tail is, the tail's got a wire in it.
Yeah.
I wish the fingers were as well.
Me too.
I wish it wrapped around a head and stayed that way.
Oh, they're not.
Because
it's the
honestly,
plush one. The fingers. I have the plush one, and the fingers have wires.
Yeah, I have the plush chest burster, and so, but yeah, no, I think because. I just think that would be an awesome costume. Figure out a way where you could see and wear that thing around with the So
we've seen that. We've seen some people cosplay with that.
Oh,
wrapped around their face.
There's been some good. We've seen some good ones. We've seen people with like it stuck to their back, and I've seen a good chest burster too. So with articulation where it was like moving and stuff, and so
yeah. Well, I've got my pulse rifle too, but one of my favorites is my Nostromo hat.
Yep.
That I bought in 1979. This is right after the movie came out. The Thinking Cap company came out with that. I think this is one of the oldest articles of clothing I own. I'm sure it is. Well, yeah, probably. And this has been through like a lot. You can see how dirty it is inside. I would wear this. I wore this all through film school when we'd go out filming because Steven Spielberg wore a baseball hat, so I wore this on every shoot we were on. But these are it has the nice wear from the years like Harry Dean Stanton's had in the movie.
And so that's got the scrambled eggs on it. So was that Scarrett's hat? Was that Dallas's hat?
I think his had it too. I think. I thought Tom, what's his face, Harry Dean Stanton's did too. I could be wrong.
I don't think so.
This
I
is the only one
think
they
his
made.
was a plain brim. I think his was a.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
So
this is the only one that this company made. This is like the first thing they came out with, and then the Thinking Cap company went on to make actually hats for movies, and then sold them to the public as well. So
Cool.
that's one of my favorite things. Okay, moving on. We're going to talk about two shows, and I think every week we'll probably pick up a show or two that has come out. We'll just try to keep this, pretty tight. So Batgirl started.
Batwoman.
Sorry, I wrote Batgirl. Batwoman started last week. Did you watch? I've watched first and second episodes. Does anyone watch?
In fact, I waited to watch the second. I didn't want to watch the second episode before we talked because I figured we'd be talking about the pilot. My thought was, it has to get better than this, and I didn't want to influence my opinion of the pilot. So,
okay, fair enough.
I only watched the pilot.
Just Dave, does it get better? Please tell me it gets better.
It does get better. I think it got better.
Good.
Because I found that they already jumped into a bit of a complicated story, one, which is fine. She was not great. I think she's better in the second episode, because even the voiceover seemed really not well acted.
I don't think that was planned. I think that was tacked on. I really do.
But still,
that was a lot of dead space.
If it didn't have voiceover, you really would be lost. It was a little convoluted. That
you say that, but they also. My big criticism with this is they introduced like 9 characters and explicitly laid out exactly who they are, and I think this could have been rolled out a lot slower. I think you could have, introduced more, people successively through the. It just felt very forced, and it's like, oh, and this is my stepmom, and this is my stepsister.
That's what I think. I think that's the difference between.
My sister's not dead. She's going to be the bad guy. Okay. Say what you want to, but I mean, this is Greg Rucka told the story in a comic, and I think we were 9 issues in before we figured out who the sister was.
Well, here's the thing with us, and I'm watching the second episode, and I'm thinking, the good thing of it is we're moving along. It's not like, the last year's Flash and Arrow, where it's like we're not going anywhere. Please get somewhere. We've gotten someplace here, and I agree. While there's introduction, there's not a lot of clear character development.
No, and again, I'll tell you, in the comic, it's the father, her, and then ultimately the sister, the wackadoo sister character, and they tell a really good story. And there's really good, and then other people kind of come and go, and there's other interactions. But we got the ex-girlfriend. We've got, it just seemed like they couldn't layer in enough shit in that thing where it was just like, okay,
yeah,
let's take the board with all the like strings connecting all the people and lay that out idiot style and explain who every single person is in relation to this person. And let's add Lucius Fox's son in there just so we have somebody to talk to in the cave. And
yeah, I know that was a little forced. It's like this guy has nothing to do with this, and all of a sudden he's the guy who sort of knows. And you need someone. You need an alpha.
And I'm going to give a straight out criticism of these CW shows is they don't know how to make a show that's not the Arrow formula. They can't. They figured out partway through season 1 that he needed an ensemble so that he could talk. He had people he could talk to. People he could disappoint.
Guy in the chair. There's always a guy in the chair.
You need the guy in the chair, or the girl in the chair, as the case may be, and then. But when he was a lone wolf, the show didn't work quite as well. Okay, they figured out the supporting cast thing, and they have forced that down our throat on every single subsequent show they have done. And this one, they tried to put all the characters on the board before they even started. It's
yeah. What would have been better if the first and second episodes was like a 2-hour first episode,
yep.
Because I do feel like. It all that sort of it sort of gets a little more fleshed out. So happily, I thought it was a little better, and I do think she was better. She was not good at all.
I will say
she was better in the crossover, as an actress.
I agree. I totally
than
agree.
she
I
was
found
in
the
this
character more
pilot, but she's
interesting
better
in the
in-
crossover, and she had a little bit of mystery to her in that one. Whereas I think we just knew too much too soon about who she was and her motivations, and all these kind of things. I will say the one thing I did like, and I think I texted you about this, Dave. I liked that she wore Batman's costume to begin with, because it just would have been silly to say,
Well, meanwhile, the guy made, Batman's costume who's 6'2" and 200 pounds. It's for a girl who's like 5'4", 120.
Yeah, but it's just
and
it's all rubber. You just like tighten it up and back. It's just like clamps.
But let me tell you something. She's got the worst cowl of every Bat.
Yeah, it is pretty bad. But what I'm saying, it would have been silly
horrible.
that like in 10 minutes they whipped up a brand new,
I'm with
completely
you.
different costume.
They basically did, because it even has breast things.
Yeah.
In the front.
Well, it's
They
like vacuum
said-
form.
she
it's
said
like you just
when
kind of
she's-
get there and it's like.
But when she saw the Batman costume in the cave, she said, "Make that into a suit for me." But then it was a completely different. I mean,
But
you're
then
only,
the
you're
guy's
only
like,
saying that she wore Batman's costume because the narrative they told
So,
you that. But
you remember Peter Parker's costume, the Spider-Man costume
Yeah.
that was like really super baggy, and you put it on, you like pull the thing, and it just Okay, that's how that works. Okay, it fit
so
around
I
the
haven't
mannequin.
said, so I haven't said anything yet.
It
You
fit
guys
around
have
the
done all
mannequin,
talking.
and then when they took it off the mannequin, put it on her, they just pushed the button, and it just like just sucked down to fit her. Barry.
Okay, Barry.
So I'll just say a couple things. You guys are way more into the whole CW superhero universe than I am. I watched Flash. I watched Legends. I never watched the other shows. There is such a formula to these. You said it before, and it's true. And it's not just... It's CW in general. For all of their teenage dramas, there's a formula. For all their superhero shows, there's a formula. And, we'll talk about this on the next show, because that show is very formulaic as well. This just, and maybe it gets better, like you said, but it did nothing in the pilot to inspire me to want to watch any more of it. And it just felt very... I like Titans, and how many shows are we going to have where Bruce Wayne's not around, so other people are doing stuff? It's just like
they can't. But yeah, no, I agree.
I know they can't, but if you can't, just because you
I
can't,
know.
maybe
He's
get more
gone.
creative.
He's
If
then.
gone
they
from
had
everywhere.
trusted themselves to do what they had done with Oliver Queen and have her acquire allies one by one and slowly, just and just expand her world, make it more interesting. I think it, but this just feels so force fed. It's like we have all these boxes to check off. Let's check them all off in the first episode.
That opening sequence where she was training and she was under the ice and all that, I was like, the whole thing, which was just so ridiculous to me.
Well, I didn't have a problem with that so much.
I didn't have
Because
such a
she
problem
needed
with
to-
that either, because it's like classic Batman thing. But the whole idea that
But why would that's Batman's story? Why would his cousin be doing the same thing that Bruce Wayne did, or that
without having known she was? Yes, I know. That was
just felt silly to me.
But here's the thing: so she can go back and work for a security firm that's run by her father. That's what she was doing. So she's going to do this intense. You telling me that all those people on the roof with the blue fatigues have been like trapped under the ice and stuff? That seemed a little odd. I mean, I don't know.
There's a lot of forced things, but my only hope is they're like, okay, we're going to it's going to be like a runaway train, and we're just going to it's opposed to the 22 episodes to tell a 4-episode story. I don't know, but watch the second one. I do think it was better than the first. She acts better. I kind of do like the whatever Lucius Fox's son's name. I like the guy in the chair who really doesn't know what he's doing. That's kind of a nice twist on it. Is like, I don't know how to work any of this stuff.
That's
and
fair, because the guy in the chair in all the other shows is like a tech expert.
I think that could be interesting. It maybe could have been better with just, again, like I said, they created this, the stepmother, the stepsister, the ex-girlfriend, all of these characters were shoehorned in here. And it just doesn't leave you like a lot of room to develop the characters the tension between her and her father has always been what drove this story. And, he had one set of expectations. She wanted to be somebody different. I think that could be a good story for a change. and now it's just we'll
But
see.
I think it's positive that you're saying it's getting better. I mean, I never had any intention of watching this show, and I only watched the pilot because we said we would for our show. But I know you guys like this stuff more than I do. If it gets getting better, then that's good. But it just feels like all of these CW Berlanti shows are. I don't know if there's just too many of them now, but they're just very, very formulaic. And if you only watch one of them, like I do, it's not as apparent. But we talked about this last year. When you're watching 5 of them, it's really
I know,
obvious.
Dave, you don't like Legends, you don't like the idea of Legends, whatever. It's not this, and I find it refreshing in that regard because
it just got bad.
Yeah, it.
And I know you said it got better, but Barry, have you watched any more Titans?
No, not because I don't want to. I just haven't had any time.
Let me tell you, so I'm through episode 6. Titans blows away all these days. They're covering a lot of ground, and it's all over the place. It's sort of got one through story, but they're in a lot of places. I thought episodes 3 and 4 were really good, and now 5 and 6 were
I'm
really
behind.
good.
I haven't seen 5 and 6. I thought 3 and 4 were extremely good.
I'll be commuting on Thursday, so I'll catch at least 2 episodes then.
It seems to me like the first. I don't want to say the first season was the throwaway, but the first season really seems like a prelude, and this season seems like they found their footing. And
this season, I don't think they're finding their footing. I think they're sort of merging last year with the past.
Okay.
And I think they got to wade through all this in a good way for us because we get to see a lot of cool stuff. And then maybe season 3 is going to be, okay, now we're going to start going.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see. All right. On to the next one, which I guess I made everyone watch because
my wife was like, "Why are you watching this?"
So Nancy Drew, I wanted to watch because I loved the Hardy Boys as a kid, and I never read Nancy Drew books. Not that there's anything wrong with that if I would have, but I certainly watched when I in 19 whatever 78, 77, Nancy Drew Hardy Boys Mysteries was one of my favorite shows. I love that stuff. So I'm like, okay, and in the past maybe I feel like 5 or more years, there's been a ton of different Nancy Drews.
In the last, I actually looked it up, and since 2000, they've made 5 runs at doing this.
Oh my god!
And they just never got it right.
There's been 2
it's
movies,
funny,
like low budget movies, that weren't connected, but and
there was a movie just this year too that was totally not connected to this.
Yeah.
And I said to Todd last week, I don't know if it was on the air or off the air. It was probably off the air. Like, they've never taken a run at the Hardy Boys again since 1978, although they've done Nancy Drews. But you make a really Supernatural is more or less
Hardy
a
Boys,
hardcore
yes.
Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they haven't done it.
It's an interesting property, okay? In that it's you get this. I guess you could kind of argue that Veronica Mars was Nancy Drew, also.
Could. I never saw it, but
I'm saying it kind of was. This precocious female, the teen detective, and so yeah. I mean, it's kind of a perennial thing. They keep going back and revisiting. This one, rewind 5-10 minutes, and everything I said about trying to cram everything into the first episode. There's certain established characters in Nancy Drew lore. They repurposed all of those characters and squeezed them in here
pretty quickly. And
they made Ned, who's her long-time boyfriend, who apparently she cheated on with one of the Hardy Boys, is shoehorned in here as one guy, and then her best friend, lifetime best friend Georgie, is now the person that she works with at the diner, who she kind of gets along with. They transplanted it from being in the Midwest to now it's in Maine. I'm not sure why that is. It's just I'm not sure why. Maybe we don't find the Midwest interesting.
I think the picture
I think it's the extreme high crime rate in Maine that makes it an attractive
in the
setting
tiny
for teen
town in
detective.
Maine.
Yeah.
I think someone
Little
saw
sleepy
too many episodes of
fishing
Murder,
town.
She Wrote and assumed that it wasn't the state with the second lowest crime rate in the country. But
I wonder if that has anything to do with Stephen King. Just because it seems like, at least from this pilot, that they're going for more of a supernatural.
Oh, they're
thing.
working
totally
that. They're working
are.
every angle they possibly can
Yeah,
in this thing.
Working every. I just like the 40, 50-year-old mother who sits her 13-year-old daughter down. It's like, oh my God, sweetheart, I love Nancy Drew.
as a kid.
Let's watch this together. And in the first 5 minutes, she's banging a dude.
And just wants it doesn't want it to be a thing. I'm going to stop by the garage
just-
periodically.
And it's not
sex.
even like
It's
it's
not
a
for
dude
no
that she's in a
relationship.
long-term
basically-
committed
this
relationship
is like
with.
the main equivalent of Tinder. You go to the garage and then you don't talk about it afterwards.
And you know why I said I mean I didn't it is definitely young. It is edgy for sure. I guess the reason I'm like, oh, you guys should check it out, because watching Batwoman, and again, she does get better. The pilot was really weak. The girl who plays Nancy Drew is acting circles around the girl who's playing Batwoman.
They just
and
don't
it
give her
totally
anything to work
worked
with. But yes, I agree.
better for me, and
Yeah,
that's why I'm like, okay, this is sort of better. I mean, it's pretty basic, but
Yeah, her name's
she's really cute.
Kennedy
obviously,
McCann.
too,
She's
but-
super cute. I don't think she's done much. I looked up her IMDb. She's only been in a few other
But she
things.
was. I thought
she was good.
She
I think
nailed this
she
character.
does a good job with it
pretty well.
It's just there's a Nancy Drew comic right now or last year there was. It was
love that comic.
A short run that they actually did. It was kind of funny. They did like a straight kind of traditional Hardy Boys, and then they did this edgy kind of gothy Nancy Drew, and it was actually kind of funny. And if they
Was it a good comic, Todd?
What's that? I didn't read it. I know
okay.
of it. I read some reviews,
through
so
it.
I could not tell you if it's a good comic, Barry. But I at least thought the idea was creative. There was nothing here that I thought was particularly creative. One of the things.
Here's the thing, though, because we talked about the CW formula. My wife was in the room with me while I watched some of this. While she was questioning me, she happens to watch Riverdale, and she said to me, "This is Riverdale." She's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Just
I was
like
thinking,
Riverdale.
I
It
will
is,
say,
yeah.
from
I don't watch
from
Riverdale, but
having a commercial, having seen promo knowledge of Riverdale, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this. The other thing is, how do you have somebody in a small town in Maine who managed to be the whatever their homecoming queen, the Sea Queen,
The Sea Queen, or whatever it was.
yet has no friends? How do you get to be elected Sea Queen, but actually you don't have any friends?
Well,
It's
and maybe it's that all of her friends went off to college and she's stuck.
I think she did say that most of her friends
Yeah.
went to
Yeah,
college.
it
She's sort of
seems
there as a
like-
reject.
So like her circle are these random people that she's just got imposed on her, and I don't know.
I did like that Pamela Sue Martin showed up in
that
this. I thought
that was
kinda-
good. It was good. I did appreciate that.
I just
Scott
find
Wolf-
these shows to
Scott
be way
Wolf
too
doesn't
formulaic.
age.
They definitely a formulaic. Not only it's like every ethnicity is
this is what I'm saying.
represented.
This is so.
All these shows,
this
it's
is
like
so
white girl, Asian
CW.
girl,
It's
black
like-
black guy.
Yep.
Some indistinct Middle Eastern sort of maybe mix with Anglo something. That's they're all there.
One of the forever criticisms of Nancy Drew is basically, an upper middle class white girl can get away with doing the things that she does. Okay, they could have messed with her socioeconomic status a little bit. They didn't really.
Nope, father's a lawyer, so there's at least
That's
a little
what
bit
I'm saying.
of money
Let me
there.
tell you, Scott Wolf does not. I gotta give credit to Scott Wolf. He doesn't look old enough to be her dad.
I just
He's
said that
51.
he's 54. Okay, but it's like I was just saying that he hasn't aged. I mean, it's like I'm looking at him and it's like, what
and
was
he's
it?
shorter than her too, which is
Yeah.
Well, and
interesting.
he was just as good as he was on Party of Five.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting is they keep playing. One of the prime things with Nancy Drew is her mother died when she was a child, and so she was always like she basically, and her dad was very busy with being a judge and so on and so forth. And she was, so she was around, law enforcement and all this kind of stuff like this. This just seems like, oh, okay, now I'm interested in mysteries. They had a very...
But she always was involved in it as a kid. They even said.
I know that, but it's just like, there's no real good reason for this other than like seeing her parents digging up something in the backyard. And God, if they make her parents serial killers,
I don't think they're going to do that, but...
So...
I just thought it was interesting, a take on something that we watched when we were kids. I thought it was, boy, this is certainly not the same thing we watched.
It most definitely is not the same thing. I will say I've never read a Nancy Drew book. I saw every episode of the Nancy Drew mysteries that Pamela Sue Martin was in. Not so much Louise Johnson, I guess, who replaced her. Wasn't that in?
There was a replacement?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The last 4 episodes were a different Nancy Drew.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, she actually Pamela Sue Martin made a movie about Dillinger, and there was a semi-nude scene in that, and ABC decided that she wasn't appropriate anymore. So, in any case, yeah, it's not your mother's Nancy Drew. It's
not at all.
Yeah.
I just thought it was better than Batwoman. We'll see if anyone wants to give it another episode. But
so if you're going to put number ratings in the two of these, and what did we do before? Did we do 1 to 10 last year when we were doing pilots?
I guess so. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. From purely the pilot, I'll give Batwoman a 5 and Nancy Drew a 6.
I would say Batwoman a 5, and I would actually say Nancy Drew a 7. But I'll be honest, I have no interest in watching more of it. I thought it was good. It was well made, well acted. But no,
to me, the dividing line is a 5 or above. I'll watch again.
Oh well, if that's
I gotta say they ended. You know what I do like? They end. It wasn't wrapped up, but I do feel I for both these shows, I feel like I don't know, and then maybe it's just this hopeful thinking that they're leaving you hanging a little. And they're going to come back and answer the question and maybe not just drag this out. Both shows did that. They both sort of ended with a sort of a cliffhanger. And I do feel like it's going to get wrapped up in the next episode. And it won't be this 4 episodes of nothing happening.
On the Nancy Drew one, when she was peeling back the wallpaper that clearly has been there for 50 years or 100 years in the attic, and the woman's name was, to me, that was where I was like, all right, this is dumb.
What if there's real supernatural stuff in this?
Maybe there is.
There's going to be a crossover with the Hardy Boys. I mean, not the Hardy Boys, but
yeah, with the fake Hardy Boys.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm interested in, because if they've a number of times tried to do sort of what do they call backdoor pilots twice, I think, to get a female supernatural thing going, and it didn't work. There were two. There was a mother-daughter hunters. I thought they did, and then they did a very specific, and they just didn't take. Now I'm curious if this winds up, if the answer isn't, oh, it's Mr. Carruthers, and here's the rubber mask, or maybe there is actual supernatural stuff here. That could be interesting to me.
Okay. Well,
anyway,
you can let us know how that goes for you, because I'm not going to watch any more of this.
No, me either.
I would do it. I will give the same ratings you did, Dave. I'm going to say a 5 on Batgirl and a 6 on Nancy Drew, but I have no interest in watching any more of it. I will watch more of Batgirl. I will probably give this 6 episodes and see what it does. I put it this way: I'm going to watch this through Crisis, anyways. But boy, I was not.
I'm not cluttered right now with stuff to watch, so I'm watching it.
This is the weakest out of the gate of any of the DC shows that CW's done.
I'd say that. I'd say for sure. Yeah. Because they are,
I'm just no reason for it whatsoever. Because honestly, I think how she was utilized in the crossover last year, I think portended for a much more interesting character and a better treatment of the character than we're being given right now. So we'll see.
Now, where is she? She's in a different universe, right?
No.
I can't remember.
No, she's in the same universe because they went to Gotham. They just went to Gotham.
They went to see her in the crossover.
Yeah.
Or they went to Gotham anyway, and she was there.
They went to Gotham in Earth Prime or whatever?
Earth
whatever,
1 or
yeah.
whatever, wherever we are.
It won't matter
I
by the
can't
time
remember.
Crisis
but
is over.
Supergirl's in
they're all
Earth,
gonna be the
what,
same Earth
42
anyway,
or
so.
something?
Spoiler. Sorry.
That's from last year.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. All right, running long. Barry?
Yeah, I
any
got
last
one.
thoughts?
Well, you called me
You
an
did?
asshole last week for not having one. I figured I better have one. So this is quick, but I just thought you might find this interesting. So we've talked last year quite a bit about the Harrison Ford autograph send-in thing, right? And I know, Dave, you participated in it last year. I skipped it. This year I am participating. They just announced a new wrinkle to it, which I find interesting. I guess there was some pushback last year from people saying, I don't want to spend all that money and I have no proof that he actually signed my thing. So for this second signing, they're actually having a professional photographer come in and take a picture of him signing every item. So you get a picture of him signing your actual item. I thought that was cool.
Wow.
I think that's a really good idea.
Well, they were BSA or whatever, PSA or whatever.
They're doing the
witness,
Beckett authentication too, but and you know they've already said, like, look, you know, everybody's going to get one, but if there's a problem with the camera or something happens, or like we can't guarantee 100%, but they're saying
that's an undertaking, I gotta say.
Yeah,
because there will be a lot of items. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them having
making a shitload of money doing
no,
this.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I think this is honestly, Barry. I think it's great that they're doing it, but they should have been doing this all along. I think this, but you know, most people won't be selling their thing, but I think it's a great thing to have.
But even
that's the thing
for,
that
for resale,
Authentic
yes,
does,
and
that's
for
cool.
just peace of mind for people that are
That's what I'm
spending
saying.
that much
It's like,
money.
It's like, yeah.
And they didn't announce
That's
that
cool.
until this past weekend, so it was something they added in.
Of course, a week before you get your poster back in the mail, they email you a digital copy of the photo, and then blotting your poster after Harrison Ford spilt his coffee on it. There's all these people around trying to blot it dry in the picture.
But I get your point, Dave, because it adds a layer of complexity and logistics to have to be taking a picture, because you know they're going to be passing these things to him pretty quickly.
Oh my God, yeah, it's not an easy thing. And then how do you?
Although the
know
poster,
which
you know, for
picture
a lot
goes
of
with which
these
thing?
things are posters, and that does require a little bit of let's get the poster on the table, let's get the right pen color in the right spot. So there's probably a minute.
There's logistics to this, and I'm not talking about the money. I get it; they're making money, but it's not an easy thing.
Oh no, but I think it's I do think that's a significant thing, and it was good of them to do that, because
I was very happy when I heard that they were doing that. It just makes
that's cool.
It's cool. So good on them for adding that in.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. And let us know if you've watched any of this stuff. Don't watch the memory thing, and let us know what you think.
Right. Hey, just picking up on a note from earlier, we did not get any new reviews in iTunes, so it would be awesome if for the next show we could actually read a new review. If you have never reviewed us in iTunes, please take 30 seconds and go write something nice about us on iTunes.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.